As we choose to pick our favorite video games, there are some characters that are more tragic than others. Here are the 5 most tragic characters in all of video games. Before we begin, here's a shout out for this person right here with a comment on one of my videos. If you want a shout out, just like, comment, and subscribe. The main research in a term of knowledge when it comes to Old World Blues is a rather iconic DLC throughout the whole Fallout series, and though yes, it is quite funny with a hint of use of comedy and dark humor, you can get around to it with a very likable head scientist who also gone to the descent of madness.
In the presence of the mighty think tank of Big Mountain, the collective geniuses of we. Why, Oppenheimer, which one of you self-professed geniuses has been adjusting my volume knob? Who was it?
The main source of reason why this facility was made in the first place, it was mainly to hold the most contemptible and bright minds throughout the world to re-establish the world if it did manage to end by the hands of communism. And though yes, they were properly aware that they will die from old age before this concept becomes reality, so they transmitted their brains inside of robot bodies. However, the new synthetic gel that you see the brains floating into, it made them go into the descent of madness, as they didn't believe that would rot up the content of the human brain. What makes this more tragic is the fact that these guys had the proper acknowledgement and technology to fix the world in their image. However, thanks for their lack of knowledge of the human anatomy with the brain and the gel, it just made them go crazier and crazier, meaning this whole facility and research was gone for nothing. BioShock Infinite is an iconic game on each feature, to the active story, dialogue between each protagonist is lake, and we can never forget about the artificial graphics, and despite coming out for last gen of consoles, visually look amazing. But no matter how we choose to depict the game in our image, the most iconic but tragic character is Elizabeth. Just think about it real quick, being locked in a tower throughout your life, having dreams that you wish to go explore but only having no way to escape, and how you choose to see to have the one person you called a friend being killed by your own hands. It even gets more tragic as it shows Elizabeth is destined to rule all of America, to reborn inside the image of what these people represent, and if it has to be stopped by Booker, you have to force the witness that she has been tortured to reset her mind in a global image of way how she saw the Prophet. It's even more sad because how innocent Elizabeth feels to the human eye throughout the whole game. I never once have seen a realistic character in video games before ever since I saw her, and to know that she's been through so much just to get to Paris, it's beyond a sad story. L.A. Noire is a simple game that you could put any tragedy list onto any video. However, to my perspective, I think the most tragic story throughout this whole game is Detective Cole Phelps. A rather intelligent and sophisticated detective does whatever it takes to bring mighty foes down whoever brings the lash of actions against on innocent people. And though being a Vietnam War veteran, him taking life into the rash of actions in war, I think he has his fair share of innocent people dying across mid-fire. So basically, his main characterization is a rather touching one. Whatever the main purpose when it comes to the act of L.A. Noire, it is rather tragic on its own, where Detective Cole Phelps was framed from a crime he didn't commit by his fellow friends. During of this time, his respect, his acknowledgement, and his hard work he brought to the detective agency has all been for nothing.
I don't care what you did or didn't do, Phelps. I hear you're a good case man. But if you fuck up on my detail, I'll have you out of here before your feet touch the ground.
But after doing one fatal case will cost him his life, after him doing proper acknowledgement of illegal narcotics, gun manufacturing, and his woman who has been captured by the enemy. Tragically, once the sewer pipe was being overflowed, it managed to take the life of Detective Cole Phelps in an instant, meaning all of his dedication and hard work he brought to the agency was gone in a flash, a very innocent cop gone for no reason.
We're gathered here to honor Detective Cole Phelps. Cole Phelps was the best kind of man. Hear, hear. A war hero who led his men with true valor, and through his personal bravery achieved one of his country's highest honors.
Combined with God of War and the people you can face throughout the game is rather tragic on each side, as every time Kratos has killed any god, billions of people will die in his wake. However, throughout anything else, I cannot count all these people on the list. During my playthrough throughout the series of God of War, the most tragic character that I say in my eyes has to be the act of Orkos. Orkos at the very beginning when she was born was a rather big tragedy on its own, as his father was the God of War at first with Ares. You see, his backstory continues in a flashback form, as it shows his father wanted to contain a warrior in his own blood to evade all Olympus, but as it turns out he was not what he was thinking, as he was shown to be a weakling. But however, his mother, known as the Furies, took him in and decided to give him a job, a gatekeeper and such, of keeping the souls in line who would ever make a deal with the gods. So during of this progress, he wanted an infinite purpose of proving his father that he is worth something. Tragically, each soul he would take throughout his body would also torture him at the same time, as these souls are moving on constantly, so meaning he could feel throughout the inch of pain what these souls bring to him in his body. But knowing the true monster that his father was, he decides to help Kratos bring up the god of war down, and this came from a memorable sacrifice. Now, as Ares had the soul of Kratos, he traded it into his son's body, meaning Kratos was forced to kill him where he stand. So meaning at this progress, it was tragic for Kratos to kill one person he considered a friend, but there is somehow light in the end, as he is given the death of the warrior he was once promised.
Give me an honorable death.
With the death of Orcus, the blood oath to Ares was finally broken.
Final Fantasy VII was one of the few games released for the PS1, and though many to gamers and critics alike, is very beloved for one simple reason: for the active story, gameplay-wise, and the hint of the biggest twist in all of video games. Throughout your initial travels, you would come across many sorts of creatures and mobs you would have to face throughout the game, and you would have a sorts of companions who guide you throughout that way. Aeris Gamebro is probably the most recognizable out of all of them, considering she is the fatal one that would be able to res your teammates and with a course of healing. However, she is the most recognizable for the one fatal scene, as she was in mid-prayer praying for the people around the country. Assassin managed to make his way to even take her down when her guard was also away, meaning of the simple requirement: if you're able to see someone kill another person in mid-prayer, it's kinda cold-hearted on its own, of a simple character who didn't deserve such a heartless death.